I'm all the way up. Shorty, what you want, shorty, what you need. My niggas run the game, we ain't never leave.
Just stay up. And if you ask anybody where I live, they point to the hills and say, go all the way up. Oh.
Snapchat, good morning, what's going on? Second clip from Tahiti's Up. This is a good one. This is probably even more, I like this one better than the last one. We swam with sharks and stingrays. Go watch it. Snapchat, what's going on? We're doing a question of the day today. We're doing one on addiction. I've done this a number of times with clients, and I'm pretty sure I've touched on it here on Snapchat. I can't be 100% sure. I've done hundreds of these fucking things now, but I'll go over it again anyway. If you're doing an addiction right now, keep watching. If you know someone in your immediate network who's doing an addiction right now, keep watching. This is kind of important. I got this question yesterday. The question was, wife has been doing some alcohol abuse behind the back, hasn't told the husband's not been too fond of this, has threatened to leave the wife. Wife verbally agrees to want to change, but then doesn't change, does the alcohol abuse again behind the back, lies about it, husband leaves. Make sense? If you have someone in your family who's doing similar sort of things, it's probably wise to know a few of these points. First point, addictions serve the person. If someone's smashing the booze, they're getting fucked up, it's serving them. They might verbally say, oh, I don't want to do this, it's horrible, it's not good for me, but if they're doing it, it's serving them. Always remember this, and this carries beyond addiction as well, right? The things that people say is nowhere near as significant as the things that people continuously do. So, since they're doing it for a reason and it's serving them, the smartest thing that you can do to start with is ask them, how is this serving you? What are you getting from it? If you go and say, this is a bad thing, and you judge it, and you condemn them, and you beat them up for doing it, then they go and beat themselves up, then they feel even shittier. You're not progressing. You won't break their addiction until you give them a better strategy to get what they get from doing the addiction. So you get someone who's an alcoholic, and you go and threaten to leave them, or threaten to do this or that, or take away their booze. That's their strategy. They'll fucking find a way to get the booze again. And in the meantime, they'll accrue resentment for you, they'll accrue resentment for themselves, and they'll actually spiral downwards. It's not wise to condemn someone for doing an addiction. Now, since this is going out to thousands of individuals all over the planet with dealing with different addictions in the family, I don't know your specific cause, their specific cause. But I can give you a diagram that'll fucking get it pretty close. I'll get it in the ballpark. Here it is. I think you can agree, most human beings have a body. They have a physical body in the physical plane. I think you'll probably also agree that most human beings have a mind capable of thinking. Where I'll split the audience here is to suggest that we also have a soul. There's another level. There's another level to our being, the soul state. Many people won't believe it. Many people don't believe it because it's beyond science. So you go to a shrink, they're not going to be talking about this shit. But so that I don't get too spiritual or too esoteric, just understand that when I'm talking about the soul here, I'm talking about the life force that inhabits the physical body. When you see someone who's alive, there's a certain essence about them, there's a certain animation to their physical body that moves them, that drives them to do the things. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about soul. When someone is in their deathbed and then they die and it's just their body left, you can tell, you can sense that something's left. Their life force is left. Matter without spirit is motionless. Spirit without matter is expressionless. The body expresses the spirit moves the body. The purpose of our soul is to express desire in the form of what we would love to do. The purpose of our mind is to make choices between the different options, and the purpose of our body is to take action on the choice. Now, because so many people don't acknowledge that they have a soul and it plays an important role in their life, they live in the mind and they live in the body. That's it. What does the body want to do? The body wants to stay alive and it wants to fuck people and reproduce. Survival and reproduction. That's why the people on planet Earth who are not doing what they love are the most animalistic. The mind of those particular individuals will be governed by impulse and instinct. Avoid predator, seek prey. Now, even the most animalistic individuals, they still have a soul. They might not recognize it or acknowledge it, but they fucking will got one. And like I just said, the purpose of that soul is to express to them what they would truly love to do with their lives, what they're most inspired from within to do. So if you're doing a survival and reproduction, fucking like rabbits, and in the mind you're trying to please and appease authorities to avoid predator and seek prey, and you're dishonoring what you truly love to do, then you're going to have some internal conflicts. Because the ancient Hermetic writers had a saying, as above, so below. As below, so above. It means whatever your soul-guided desires are is already trying to emerge in your thoughts, and it's already trying to emerge in your actions. But people don't acknowledge what they're being called to do. They don't acknowledge their intuition. They don't acknowledge what they're constantly being called to do, and they ignore this. So the people who are living in the mind, the body, and ignoring the soul will have an overwhelming feeling like something's missing. Even if they accrue success, they'll feel unfulfilled. Their soul's desires will be emerging in their thoughts and their intuitions, and in their actions will be pushing them in this direction, but then their subordinations and conditions and traditions will be pulling them in this direction. And that tug of war is what causes all the fuckery in life. That's the suffering of life. It's not honoring your soul's desires. It's going with subordination to tradition. If your soul's desires want this, but you've subordinated to traditions that say do this, and they're in conflict, you'll have suffering in your life. That suffering will be so inescapable that you'll have to cook up strategies and store them in your unconscious, but run them and pretend you don't know that it's a strategy. The strategies are there so that you don't have to deal with the fact that you have a massive internal conflict between what you're being called from within to do and where you think your safety is. Some very effective strategies include drinking alcohol, eating too much shitty, fatty, sugary foods and escaping, doing a physical escape by leaving the country or leaving your partner and thinking that things are going to change when you have a different change of scenery. You might want to watch TV or shitty soap operas all day long. You might become addicted to computer games. Your strategy might be to bury yourself in computer games, in fake worlds that allow you to escape your real life. You might be addicted to having sex. You could have a sex addiction. That could be your strategy. You might be addicted to going to the gym. You might have some more effective strategies. You might be addicted to falling in love or falling in infatuation with individuals. You get the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins released in the brain. You can become addicted to that shit. You might also want to be chasing fantasies, get-rich-quick schemes, etc. People are very infatuated with this because they're not fulfilled with their real life. They want to do an escape. I hope you are picking up what I'm putting down. People do addictions for a reason. They're unconscious strategies to help them escape the reality of life. One of the most debilitating factors that go into this necessity to do an escape is subordination to external authorities, parents, teachers, preachers, peers. The cure-all is to know yourself, be yourself, love yourself. That means knowing the soul state, knowing what inspires you from within. And then when you know yourself, to develop enough courage to go and be yourself despite what tradition says, what society says, what your parents want for you. Because when you're living an inspired life, in your actions, your decisions, and your soul-guided desires are in congruency, you won't need to do an escape. You won't need addictions. I hope this lesson was beneficial. I will put it on my second YouTube channel. It's called Lewis Mocha Snaps. If this was news to you or if this was enlightening, let me know.